Your homework for tonight was the mean absolute deviation worksheet, which we've also commonly referred to as MAD. And no, it's not mad because it will drive you mad, but rather that stands for mean absolute deviation. I'm going to work through the example problem, and I gave you the step-by-steps on your guided worksheet, but I wanted to go ahead and give you a video that gave you a walkthrough as well, so that you could see the steps being worked out live. And again, as I mentioned, we will end up going over MAD again this week, and you will have additional guided notes that we have in class. But this was essentially an algebraic process that could be modeled using a guided worksheet for you to be able to continue practicing something new after your quiz on Friday. So, you are given the data, and the numbers given were 7, 5, 4, 4, and 10. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. And the very first thing that our worksheet told us to do is we find the mean of the data given. And so I add up all of my numbers and I get 30. And as we said, there were 5 numbers, so I will divide by 5. And 30 divided by 5 equals 6. And yes, you can thank me for giving you a whole number solution because, as you know from class, you could add some of your data sets up, divide by the quantity of numbers given, and end up with some long decimal. And I might even expect you to use that decimal for your mean absolute deviation below. The next step is to find the difference between the mean and each of our original data points. And so we accomplish that by taking our mean, which is 6, and I'm going to subtract my first data point, minus 7. So 6 minus 7 is negative 1. And I'm going to continue with my next data point, 6 minus 5. 6 minus 5, well, that's 1. We'll continue with my next data point, 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. We'll continue with my next data point. So 6 minus 4 again. 6 minus 4 is 2. We'll continue with our next data point. 6 minus 10. 6 minus 10 would be negative 4. And now the reason the absolute value comes into play is we want all of these numbers, when we find the difference between the mean and our original data point, to be positive values. So by taking the absolute value of the difference, we end up with positive values. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1, plus the absolute value of 1 is also 1, plus the absolute value of 2 is 2, the absolute value of 2 is still 2, the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So now we have a series of positive variations that will give us the variance between the mean and each individual data point. The next step we saw in our notes was that we added these all together. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So that would equal 10. Now I want to find the mean of this data. And again, since I have 5 data points, I will have 5 mean absolute deviations. So I will divide by 5. And my solution would be 2. So, a lot of work, yes, I realize it. All of these 5 little points, we did a fair amount of math, and we found the variation between the mean and the individual data points to be 2. So our MAD would equal 2. Now, I did not give you exhaustive, lengthy lists of data, so you should be able to complete problems 1 through 7 using this same process. And then I also gave you the answers to 1 through 4 so that you could check your answers to those and make sure that you are solving the problems in the right direction. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday.